into that Sean podcast, and we are time for the fun times. It's time for that summer scouting for the college prospects. And, going through it last year, me and Cat Daddy have learned a lot. Cat Daddy, what's on your mind?
I am excited to give summer scouting a second go. Last year, it was a learning process. Some parts were a little bit rougher. And
who was our
this
top
year,
QB?
Spencer Rattler. We'll see if he makes either of our top 5 lists this week.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, I think I learned some things last year, and I feel more confident about this year.
All right. One thing that I learned from last year is we are tracking this now, because when it comes to the end list, we compare. So we are going to be tracking, Cat Daddy more so than me, the list to see who had more right players during the summer scouting than the other guy. Because, it's always a competition.
And we'll be sure to highlight these players during the season when we do our college updates. We'll be sure to give some points on them.
Let's talk a little smack. Yeah, that's my guy. Anyways, let's start it up. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Man, did I go first last year?
I believe you did.
All right, then I will allow you to do the honors of going first this year.
All right, well, like an old school movie, I'm in the year living dangerously. So, my number 5 guy is out of the University of Florida, Anthony Richardson. This guy's athletic ability combined with that arm talent has all the tools to put it together and rise up my board, rise up all the boards, and show that he could be a stud prospect. And now he's going to run with that starting job. There's no splitting time this time around.
All right. Now, Big Ush and I, we didn't share our lists with each other.
That's another new development.
Yeah. We didn't even say who was on our list and just neglected order. We just kept it hush hush 007 top secret.
You did not.
I did not what?
Put Richardson as your number 5.
So my number 5 quarterback comes from the University of Florida, and his name is Anthony Richardson.
Awesome.
2021 was a down season. He had injuries.
Yes.
Dan Mullins was the head coach, and he had a really strong desire to start Emory Jones.
For whatever ungodly reason.
I know. But with Anthony Richardson, there's a lot of projection. But he is 6'4", 235 pounds. He has a cannon where his arm should be.
It's a legit arm.
He might be the biggest dual threat quarterback in this class. He's got the size, he's got the athleticism to be able to run over people, and his play style has drawn some comparisons to Cam Newton. He is an exciting athlete, but he is raw. Something to keep an eye on is going to be his development as a passer. Specifically, I think there's quite a bit of work to do with accuracy, but that's where Mario Cristobal comes in.
I think it's his footwork more so than anything, in my opinion.
I think a lot of it is the lower body. And depending on how this season goes, he could be one of the first quarterbacks taken in the 2023 draft, or he could be returning to Gainesville for the 23 season.
True.
It all depends on how well does he develop.
All right.
So yeah, Richardson is my 5. It would be really funny if we had the same 5 in the same order. I didn't think you'd have Richardson.
Oh no, he's my risk. He's my risky guy.
Yes, that he is.
Oh, we are not going to have the same four, are we? The same five, are we?
Let's find out. Only one way.
Lord.
Who do you got for 4?
Well, I'm staying in state. And I'm going down to Miami. Give me Tyler Van Dyke, another guy who has some legit arm talent. Now, he's not the dual threat guy that Richardson is, but he is a little bit more polished. Hopefully, this year Miami will help him out with some better weapons, and he can showcase himself a little bit more because this guy's got some legit talent.
All right, and I realized when I was talking about Anthony Richardson, I talked about Mario Cristobal being the new head coach there, and it's Billy Napier's the new head coach in Florida. Cristobal's the new head coach at Miami.
Right.
So I'm glad I corrected myself and didn't let that sit for a week. So that is good. My number 4 quarterback is not
Good.
Tyler Van Dyke. Right. My number 4 quarterback is from the University of Kentucky.
Woo!
Will Levis. Currently 23 years old. He will be 24 years old before he takes an NFL snap, which is similar to this year's only first-round quarterback taken, Kenny Pickett. Similar to Kenny Pickett, I think his late success in college has to be taken with some grain of salt. Let's look a little bit in the past. He transferred from Penn State after he was unable to beat out Sean Clifford. Let that sit for a moment. Let that marinate. Because,
I'm not going to.
And that's something that concerns me because we saw quite a bit of Clifford last year when we were watching Jahan Dotson. And some of my thoughts from last year included, 1, Dotson could be so much better with a different quarterback. And 2, can Jahan Dotson just throw the ball to himself? Those were thoughts I had last year. Now, some of the good things for Will Levis, his offensive coordinator with Kentucky, Liam Cohen, is now the offensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Rams. So he has already shown some success with an NFL-type offense and system. So that would work really well for him. But things that make me proceed with caution include the fact that he puts mayonnaise in his coffee and he eats bananas with the peels on. I don't know if I can trust a guy who does that.
All right, so my number 3 guy is Will Levis out of Kentucky. And first part of this, I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for a guy with some arm talent. And the dude's got legit arm talent. Number 2, you brought up Kenny Pickett. I will not. Because Kenny Pickett's arm talent does not compare to Will Levis.
No.
Number 2, let's just be honest. Let's go before Kenny Pickett. Let's go to that other draft where there's a guy who couldn't beat out quarterbacks that he was better than, a guy named Joe Burrow. Oh yeah, that guy just played in the Super Bowl, and he couldn't beat out, who was it, J.T. Barrett, who is where? Or who's the other guy? I can't remember his name. Played for the Bills, I think, and he is nowhere also. Yeah, he won a national championship, but again, sometimes these head coaches don't know what they're talking about in college. So I'm not going to knock him too much for not beating out Sean Clifford. Let's be honest, Georgia started who over who? So we're not going there. So this guy's got legit arm talent. He is in Kentucky, and that we'll take that with a grain of salt. So as Kentucky goes, he goes. He's going to be another one of those players, kind of like your boy from last year. You know, Matt Corral. Matt Corral's stock went up as Ole Miss's stock went up. So we'll see what happens with him going forward. But this guy, if he can show some legit performances at Kentucky, and let's say if Kentucky can get some wins in that SEC, ooh, we're talking about something real interesting here.
All right. So, unless you have any surprises in your top 2,
I don't.
we've got the same top 5.
Oh, Nikes.
That's right, because my number 3 quarterback is from the University of Miami, Florida, Tyler Van Dyke.
Ooh.
Last year, redshirt sophomore, no, he's a redshirt freshman. He's a redshirt sophomore this season.
Yeah.
He burst onto the scene. He last season gave us 9 starts with Manny Diaz as the head coach. Over the final 6 games, he had nearly 2,200 yards passing. He had 20 touchdowns, and he had 2 wins against ranked programs, which helped him win the 2021 ACC Rookie of the Year. This year, he's got Mario Cristobal. Van Dyke has great size, 6'4", 224. His arm strength and accuracy, plus his athleticism, allows him to tack downfield. And that makes me think he's going to be really good in 2022. He doesn't have the best deep ball, and I'm not sure if it's due to the throwing motion, because it's a little bit of a sidearm, almost similar to Phillip Rivers.
I was about to say, Phillip Rivers, like...
Yeah, but the one thing for his progression, the one thing I'm keeping an eye on this year is the mechanics. Does he improve the mechanics? Does he make that work if he sticks to that sidearm style? But the way I felt about Matt Corral's potential last year is what I feel about Tyler Van Dyke's potential for this draft cycle. And similarly, I think an area of opportunity for Van Dyke is improving the decision making.
All right, some guys that did not make the cut that I just want to mention just to show you how deep this class could possibly be.
We'll see if we have the same people here too. Who's
All
your
right.
6 and 7?
Well, no. I'm not. I didn't rank them.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put a couple 4 to 5 guys out there that didn't make the cut that possibly could have. Fresno State quarterback Jake Hayner. He showed a lot of good stuff last year. We'll see if he progresses and see what happens there. We also have Boston College's Phil Jurkovic. This guy's an anomaly to me because he plays so well, but I just don't know what to do with him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Then we got a guy you had on your list last year, Kadon Slovics. We'll see. He had to transfer. We'll see. I don't know what to do with him. And then we have DJ. I can't pronounce his last name.
Ugalele.
He needs to do a lot to really show something.
Last year was disaster.
Speaking of show, we also have Tyler Show. QB out of Texas Tech. I mean, he's in the air raid system. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So a couple of guys that I was also looking at. And the first couple just missed my top 5. The first one is Tanner McKee from Stanford.
See, that's the one we had the pre thing. I just don't believe in him. I don't know why. I just don't see it.
It's tough. He's got the look, right? He's 6'6", he's 230. He's got a good arm. He's displayed accuracy, intelligent. Like, he has all the traits that an NFL team would want. But then you look at Stanford, and they go 3-9 last year. I think 2022 will be how well does he do as a leader?
Do you got the guy with the NFL name on your list there?
Next on my list was Phil Jurkovic. And then I had Danger Will Rogers from Mississippi State. And my sleeper was Brennan Armstrong from Virginia.
Brennan Armstrong. Another one like Brennan Armstrong, there's Sam Hartwell. Or Hartman.
Wake Forest.
Sam Hartman
from Wake Forest.
Wake Forest.
Yeah.
But one more guy I want to mention before we get to our top 2. Beautiful NFL name. He plays for a team that will, if he gets this team to win, he will definitely be in the mix, but he won't because the team sucks. It sucked for years and it will never come back. Hayden Hooker. or Hendon Hooker. Sorry, Hendon
Hendon.
Hooker. Awesome name. That's a pro name right there. I don't know about pro talent, but it is a pro name.
Speaking of pro talent, one name I'm gonna keep watching throughout the season, see how well he progresses, is an FCS transfer who went to Washington State, Cameron Ward.
Yes.
There's a lot of upside there. There's, I think, a lot he still has to learn. Very intriguing, so I'm going to be watching him pretty closely
Very
this
much
year.
so an intriguing player.
Yeah.
Now we'll get
All right.
to
Now the
number
fun
one-
parts.
Number 1, number 2. I think they're going to be the same for both of us. If they're not, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a battle on whose guy is who then. So, my number 2 guy. Alabama quarterback, Bryce Young. Last year we saw Bryce Young was able to, in his young age, navigate the pocket extremely well, get the ball to his playmakers, which is his job. And I mean, which game was it? It was the Auburn game, right? Where he led comebacks. He led the comeback in that game. Like, you saw it. You saw the talent. Yes, he might be a little undersized for what a lot of people believe is an NFL quarterback, but he's got talent coming at his ears. And all you have to do is watch this kid play, see how he can navigate the pocket now. As he gets better and better, it's only going to get better.
All right. Are you ready for my number 2?
Who is your number 2?
Are you sure you're ready?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
All right. My number 2 comes from the University of Alabama.
Ooh, told you.
Bryce Young. He's got, I mean, you're right. He's got all the tools. He has all the traits that you to become a number 1 overall draft pick. He's a strong leader. He is well respected by teammates, by his coaches. He's got a strong arm. He has plus accuracy, mobility. But some things that I'm going to keep an eye on this year is the surrounding talent, because Alabama is always loaded. And when your surrounding talent is loaded, that makes your job a lot easier.
But it also puts that spotlight on you even more.
Exactly. And that comes to my second part. I want to see him face more adversity this season. And I mean on the field adversity. I want to see games where Alabama is trailing. And I want to see how well he does playing from a deficit, because I don't think there were too many times where he was playing from a deficit last year. I want to see more of that this year. I want to see if he improves versus the pressure. And one thing that has to be noted about him, and it may be fair, it may not be, but one thing that could affect his draft stock is his size. Alabama has him listed at 6 foot and 194 pounds. And guess what? These schools add a few inches and they add a few pounds. Sure, prospects like Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield have found success, but some teams have size thresholds which may automatically eliminate him from consideration.
This is true. All right, moving on to the number 1 guy. And similar but different to Bryce Young. Only with this one, it took him a little while. It took him a minute to get up to speed, but once he was up to speed, this guy looked like a bona fide stud. And that'd be CJ Stroud out of Ohio State. Good Lord. First of all, talk about an embarrassment of riches. They still have insane receiver talent at Ohio State. But this kid also, he distributed the ball better than well. Once he got his feet underneath him, this guy, I mean, there's nothing you can say that he can't, that is not a compliment of what he does. Maybe you could say he needs to speed up his process a little bit. That's it.
All right, so we don't have the same top 5, because my number 1 quarterback is Spencer Rattler.
Lies. Every day.
Just
more
kidding.
lies.
Just kidding. It is not. It is CJ Stroud from the University of Ohio State, or Ohio State University. You're right. Last year, we saw some struggles when he started the season, but for what was he? Was he a redshirt freshman last year?
Yes.
Yeah, the redshirt freshman making his first starts. Yeah, you can see why there is some struggle. You can see why there's a little bit of rust he had to knock off. But once he got going, man, he played at a really high level for the rest of the season. And this year, we're hoping to see him get off to a hot start. But Stroud has good size. He's 6'3", 220. He's got good arm strength, good accuracy. He's got a quick release. He has good pocket presence, good mobility that makes him a threat whenever he escapes the pocket. And even after losing his top 2 wide receivers to the draft between Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, there is no reason for regression. He still has Jackson Smith and Jigba. He still has Marvin Harrison Jr., Travion Henderson, a good offensive line surrounding him. I think Bryce Young may have a stronger arm. I think they're both pretty similar when it comes to accuracy, but I think CJ Stroud has better decision making, and that's why I have Stroud as my number 1, because I'm projecting that by season ends, he'll improve more than Bryce Young will.
Agreed. I think CJ Stroud, pencil him in right now, unless there's an injury, but even if there's an injury, pencil him right now, number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft next year for 2023. Hands down, easy.
I definitely think that this year's quarterback class is going to be much better than what we just watched for the 2022 draft cycle.
There's only one player that can challenge him for that first overall pick, and it's not a quarterback, and we're not going to say who it is today.
Ooh, we're going to hold him in suspense.
Oh, yes, we are. They already know who we're talking about, but we're still going to hold them in suspense. So, do you have anything else to say about this quarterback class? I could legit seeing 3 to 4 of these guys going in the first round.
Oh, for me, I've seen some mocks that have 7 quarterbacks going.
That's nonsense.
I think 7 is a ridiculously high number.
It's because they don't know who the other players are. That's what that is.
Could I see 3-4 quarterbacks? Yes. Could I see this group becoming franchise quarterbacks as opposed to 2022? Yes.
I could see 4 in the first round, maybe 3 in the second. There's your 7.
Yeah. Between the first 2 days of the drafts, not just, 1 in the first 2 rounds with Kenny Pickett?
Right.
Yeah.
And I could see, here's the thing, with that first round, what I'm talking about, I see 2, maybe 3 at max top 10.
Yeah, depending on what teams are in the top 10.
Because I see Stroud, Bryce making the top 10, and maybe Van Dyke or Levis crack that, depending on how they're, or Richardson, depending on his ascension. Because Richardson
Tanner
has
McKee, though,
all those tools, and he's not playing for frickin' Liberty or Ole Miss. He's playing for the University of Florida. There's more
SEC.
notoriety there.
Yeah, I definitely think there's more talent for this class, and coming up with this list was a little challenging because we were discussing earlier.
Yeah,
1 and 2 were easy.
Wait till next week.
3 was pretty easy. 4 was easy. 5 is like, all right, who do I leave out? Who?
Right. Wait till next week.
Yeah. Man.
Run backs and wide receivers.
That, we're not going to share our list with one another again. And I'm going to be curious to see what this looks like, see if we have the same 5. I was really surprised.
I think we'll have the same number 1. We'll see before number 1.
Well, we'll see. I was really surprised that we had the same top 5.
But it wasn't in the order. I was surprised too.
You just mix up Van Dyke and Levis.
Richardson's where you threw me. I knew you'd have Van Dyke. All right. Well, that's all she wrote, folks. Tune in next week, and we're doing running backs and wide receivers.